Hello everyone, welcome to my living room makeover series, where I show you how I'm renovating this rental space on a budget, mostly by building my own furniture, restoring junkyard items and much more. Today's episode is all about upscaling my old TV console into a dreamy display cabinet. Let's get started. A few episodes ago, I showed you guys how I built my own TV console from scratch. It was nothing fancy, but it served its purpose well. After a while though, as we got more settled in, we realized we desperately needed more storage here, especially for display purposes. We knew we didn't want too many pieces of furniture in this rented apartment, so instead of getting something brand new, I decided to take apart the TV console and repurpose it into something else.
I was hanging with you and then I realized I didn't think it was true. I was surprised when I found out I'd fallen for you.
So design-wise, the display cabinet's dimensions had to be based on the size of the TV console's top and bottom panels. Accordingly, I cut the side panels at 9 by 24 inches and the back panel at 30 by 24 inches.
For you, and I can't quit it, 'cause I'm stuck on you. And it might be pathetic and you might be skeptical, but I just want to be with you.
I wanted the cabinets to have a personalized style, so I added these decorative trims along the edges. I then attached the side panels along the trims, basically making them into a nice ornamental border.
If I just try to conceal the truth for me and for you, but I'm still stuck on you.
Finally, I added the top and the bottom panels and the legs.
I'm still falling for you, for you.
So I had this dream, and I mean a literal dream, where I saw someone had gifted me a beautiful cabinet in a rich forest green color. It made me so happy, I decided to make that dream into a reality. But let's just say I should have listened to Professor Dumbledore.
It does not do to dwell on dreams.
I primed the credenza with a water-based primer,
When all I can is thinking about you, not doing well.
let it dry for a few hours, then went in with this gorgeous green chalk paint by Annie Sloan called Amsterdam Green.
If I could lay down beside you, I would. When nothing really matters.
For the trims of the side panels and the edges along the top and the bottom panels, I used the same golden paint which I had initially painted my bar cards dowels. If you have watched my DIY bar card video, you would know that I'm going to undo this. Once the paint was dry, I measured the center of the credenza and added a 1 by 1 inch wood panel along it with glue and nails. This is where a 1/4 inch thick glass shelf will go. For the glass doors, I went with a frameless concept which I installed with the help of these pivot hinges. Pivot hinges can be a little tricky to install, so here are a few things you should keep in mind. Mark your measurements with a sharp pencil or a pen, preferably on a masking tape surface. This will ensure that you get the exact dimensions because you need to be precise to the millimeter for this. Take the width of the glass door into consideration. I used this bead which had the exact same width as the glass, so you can do something of that sort as well. Make sure you're installing these hinges a few millimeters away from the door panel, as in like the side of the cabinet, because you don't want the glass doors to be brushing against that wood. Once your measurements are sorted, Drill in holes that are as wide and as deep as the gaps in which the hinges will be sitting.
Even if you're gone, I won't forget you. You're all I know, what I need, and that ain't changing. And even if you're gone, I will remember. You're all I know, what I need, and that ain't changing.
Now, installing glass doors with the help of pivot hinges can be a job that will test your patience, especially when you are fighting against gravity to fit the top hinges. That's when having a second set of hands will be really helpful. The door installation process kind of knocked me out. I did not shoot most of what happened after that, like the styling process. So here's a picture of what the final product looked like. Until of course I decided to break it again. We used the Credenza for about a year, and then I decided to give it another makeover for a couple of reasons. For starters, the cool toned green color was really not working with the rest of the room. Our apartment is blessed with a ton of natural light and these dark wood trims. And the sideboard's bluish green hue was kind of pulling that vibe down. And just like with the bar cart, the golden paint had yellowed over time, which really bugged me. The good thing is, if you can make it once, you can make it again. So yeah, I took it apart once again.
Settling in, settling down. Falling in love, not falling out.
The first step was to break the whole structure down because I wanted to rebuild it with screws instead of nails. I also wanted to do away with the trims because I had a different design in mind. After taking it apart, I gave it a good sanding, not to get it down to its bare bones, but just to get rid of the top coat of the paint. Although if you are repainting something, it's always a good idea to completely strip its existing paint. I'm only skipping this step because A, I don't have the proper sanding tool, and B, chalk painting is a little more forgiving. After this, I put the credenza back together just as it was, only this time I used screws instead of nails. And since I had removed the trim, the back panel now had this extra lip, so I just sawed it off with my jigsaw. Since I was going with a very neutral color this time, I wanted the credenza to have some sort of textural design that will make it pop. And I couldn't think of anything better than a fluted detail on the sides. The DIY is pretty simple. I got these half-round moldings from a local lumber shop and cut them to the size of the side panel, which was about 24 inches. I then attached them to the credenza with some PVC glue, followed by brad nails. Once they were set in place, I filled the gaps in between with wood filler. This step is crucial, otherwise your fluted design will not be seamless from afar. Next, I lightly sanded and cleaned the surface before going in with Asian Paints primer.
I'm not thinking about the way you keep my world from spinning. I'm just thinking about your eyes. Just don't know if I've been faking or pretending, but I know I never felt so damn alive.
It is very important to gently sand the primed surface in between coats. These several layers of sanding and cleaning is only going to ensure that your paint goes on smooth and strong. To make the painting process easier, I added these furniture legs I got from Amazon. I'll leave a link to them in the description box. Look how stellar they are. Finally, it was time for the paint. I'm going with this gorgeous chalk paint in the shade Desert Dust. I know a lot of people are going to hate this beige color, especially after that bold green. I also know some people detested the idea of a green piece of furniture in my house in the first place. The point is, I don't think I can make everyone happy, but I can try to make myself happy. And right now, it lies in a neutral style that celebrates my apartment's sunlit and airy ambience. 2 years from now, who knows? Maybe I will paint everything a bright bubblegum pink, like Nymphadora's hair.
Don't call me Nymphadora.
I had to go in with about 3 coats of paint before the color actually started to show, but after fully drying, it looked something like this. The camera may not do justice to this color, so think of freshly made mishti doi or the insides of a freshly baked cake, because that's how beautiful this is. While the wax was curing, I decided to whip up some melanine top coat by Asian Paints. It's basically mixing the sealer with the hardener in a 9:1 ratio. Now the reason I went in with the melanine finish on top of a clear wax coat is because the many windows that make my house so airy and bright also makes it very dusty. So I figured a nice coat of melanine top coat will give the Credenza that extra protective layer. Building a piece of furniture, to me, is like traveling. The journey can be long, tiring, and frustrating. But once you're done, once you've reached where you are heading for, when you stand back and look at what you had been working toward all this time, suddenly all the labor seems worth it, and you are ready to do it all over again. Styling can be a frustrating process too. I find that the easiest way to tackle this is adding different heights, different layers, textures, all the while sticking to a particular color palette so that it all looks more intentional and grounded. So, what do you think? Which of the 2 Credenzas would you want in your home? Would you like the bold green or the neutral beige? Or would you prefer the OG TV console after all? Let me know in the comment section, and please do consider subscribing. It really helps encourage me to make more of these DIYs. So take care, keep well, and I will see you soon again with another beautiful DIY.